Welcome back to Small Business. Well, our next guest says that with the increased scrutiny of the Australian Taxation Office, many private businesses might be in danger of triggering an ATO audit during the end of financial year. Now, for ways to avoid this and what might trigger it, I spoke with Greg Travers, Tax Director at William Buck.
Basically, the ATO are just getting a lot better at identifying businesses that are at risk of having tax issues. And so there's businesses that have really been doing things in a certain way for quite a number of years. And the ATO systems and processes and data matching are starting to catch up with those businesses.
Although audits are necessary, I guess, for an effective tax system, how are they disruptive to business and in particular small business?
Yeah, look, the challenge with the tax office audit is it's not a matter of whether you've done something right or wrong. It's just there's a reasonable process that you need to go through to be able to respond to those queries. For a lot of private businesses, small businesses, they just don't have the resources available within the business to be able to do that without disrupting the way that they normally run their business. So it can become quite a costly and time-consuming process for them.
Okay, going through some of the key things that can trigger an ATO audit, starting with the first one, financial performance out of kilter with the rest of your industry.
Yeah, so one of the main processes that the tax office does is that they look for businesses that are performing differently to their peers. So if you're in, furniture retail and you're returning a profit that is notably less than what your competitors are, the tax office quite validly wants to know why. So when businesses are lodging tax returns, there's a few things that they can be looking for, and they're things that they quite often overlook. And you are reporting to the tax office a particular industry that you're operating in, and getting that right can be quite important. And the tax office can be helpful in a lot of this as well. They do publish a lot of these statistics, so it's quite easy for businesses to look up the types of percentages that the tax officers are expecting to see. And if they're a bit different to those, you know what? Prepare for that when you're lodging your tax return. Don't wait for the tax office to come in and ask the question.
What about superannuation? It's often a contentious issue for the ATO.
Yeah, look, superannuation and those things around employees are a really common trigger for audits. So what we find is if you get disgruntled former employees that are ringing up, or even current employees ringing up the tax office and saying, look, I haven't been paid my superannuation, it's something the tax office quite rightly takes very seriously, and that can be a trigger for them to come in and do a review of your employee obligations. So calculating the superannuation right, paying it on time, it's a very important basic thing that businesses need to do that can really just take away one of the main triggers for the tax office coming in and reviewing them.
And a variance between tax returns and business activity also stands out for the ATO?
Yeah, so one of the things with businesses, they're lodging an activity statement every quarter, so their GST returns. That's reporting to the tax office a certain level of expenditure, of revenue and the like. When you go and lodge your income tax return, you're reporting very similar information. So one of the most basic things that we can do is make sure that what we tell them on the activity statement matches through to what we tell them on the income tax return, because that's a check the tax office are doing. So if you're not doing it yourself, you may well be giving the tax office a reason to come in and ask you some questions as to why things might be a little bit different than what you'd previously reported.
Being organised is obviously very important for more reasons than one, so lodging returns on time.
Yeah, so your lodgement history and your payment history paint a picture for the tax office. If you as a business think about it as a customer, if you've got a customer that always pays on time, that always does the thing that they say that they're going to do, it gives you a fair bit of comfort that they're a good customer and they're in control. Compare that to one that's always missing its payments and is always late in its deliveries to you. They're the ones that you're going to worry about. Tax office takes the same sort of view when they're looking at taxpayers. The ones with a good compliance history, the ones that are always lodge and pay on time, that's a big tick in their favour.
And operating losses as well. If you have consecutive years of these, will this stick out to the ATO?
Yeah, absolutely. And look, they get that businesses will have periods when they will trade at a loss. But if you're trading at a loss for 2 or 3 years consecutively, the tax office is starting to ask questions about why that might be the case. And one of the particular ones that you need to be concerned about, if you're a business that trades internationally and you're also reporting some losses, that can be a real reason for the tax office to want to come in and review you.
And that is all we have time for on this edition of Small Business. From the team here, thanks for your company.